There it is. All right. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us. Um, all right, we're good. um, it is November 11th. This is our November board meeting. Just as a reminder, and I will say it again at the end, but we will not be having a December board meeting. We'll be taking the month off and eating cookies and doing all the good stuff. So we will not have a board meeting in December, but as always, you can reach out to any of us if you need anything in the meantime, or if there's anything we can do to help. So let me go ahead and just get myself in order here. Marissa, is it okay if I make you my co-host? Okay. We locked out Stephen. Okay. Lily, did I accidentally make you the co-host? Sorry, Lily. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. We've got our agenda on Parent Square, if anyone would like to follow along. It is 6:41, and we're going to call to order here. So let's just take a quick look at what we will be going over tonight. Again, this is available in board docs if you would like to follow along with us. But we're going to be opening up the floor for any public comment. We're going to have a look at our October meeting minutes and take a look at any votes that came through. We're going to have an admin update from Heather, Kathy, and John and their teams. Let's see. After that, I've got a PTO update from Karen that she sent along. We've got a finance update where we're going to look at an amended budget. We are a new item that we just added 30 seconds ago is we're going to hold a vote on our new board members that we've interviewed. We're going to have some committee updates. And then we'll call it a night. So let's go ahead and get started with our public comment time. Just as a reminder, we do have our public comment guidelines available on board docs as well as in Parent Square, but we open the floor up to anyone who'd like to make a comment up to 3 minutes. So if anyone who is on Zoom would like to make a comment, you can just drop it in the chat and we'll call on you. If anyone in the room would like to, just give a shout, and I'll pause for a few moments to see if anyone would like to make a public comment tonight. That's how you're powering. Yes. Is there anything in the comments, Marissa? I'm not seeing it. Okay. And any comments in the room? All right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on. Sorry, was there something online? No, I'm hearing stuff. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at our October meeting minutes. So those are posted publicly in board docs for anyone who would like
to approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Would anyone like to second them?
I'll second.
All right. Second and a third. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll go ahead and pass those. Great, thank you. Okay. And up next, we've got our admin updates. So Heather, I turn it over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit and then I'm going to turn it over to the leaders to also share what's going on. Just going to tell you, we had our Title II needs assessment meeting today. Melissa and I have been taking our action plan, our big rocks, and really trying to put a lot of meat into it because we are working to be able to receive around $30,000 in professional development money. So we met today as a committee, had some suggestions, and then her and I hopefully will finalize that tomorrow and get it submitted by Friday out to make sure that OCPS and the state approves that. That will give our teachers some opportunities to attend some conferences outside of the state, all around MTSS, PLCs, and Montessori, which is kind of going our big rocks.
And Heather, what's the probability of getting that high?
Yeah, we have the money.
Okay.
It's just that we have to meet all of their requirements on paperwork.
Okay, cool.
So we just kind of took our action plan that administrators had already put in place and made sure we had all of the items that they are requiring us to have. So yeah, I think we're pretty solid on getting the money for that. Then I'm also going to start, actually, Melissa and I tomorrow, the Cognia accreditation updates, because that'll be coming up this next year. So the first meeting is tomorrow for that. So I'll be sharing more of that as we go through the process. We have meetings this week to review our October action plan and then the next step. So that goes along with our big rocks. And like I said, as we start to go through this process, the principals will start sharing that with you all, like what we've already been working towards, but we'll finalize ours this week. I'm gonna wait and talk about enrollment and all that stuff because it goes into our budget conversation. But I don't know which administrator is on that would like to start off by sharing what's going on in their.
I think I'm the lucky winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so most of my news you already have in Parent Square. We had our first field trip to St. Augustine with Upper L last week, which went great. Little mishap with the bus. Ended up consolidating the team from one bus into another, but everyone eventually got home. But it did make for a really long day. So just a massive shout out and thanks to our teachers, Miss Eileen and all our chaperones, because it was a long day. And then Fall Fest at the weekend. I know I will not be the only person talking about Fall Fest. It was absolutely wonderful, and we remain eternally grateful to our PTO and our volunteers. It's just such a lovely event, lovely venue. Couldn't have been nicer. We have book fair going on right now. And again, PTO set it up beautifully. It looks great. Everyone's in shopping already. We do have our community workshop tomorrow night, which is a really great parent ed event set up like a professional conference where parents get to select the sessions they want to attend. And we designed that based on feedback from parents that, it's typically the same group of parents coming to parent ed all the time and they felt like they were hearing the same stuff over and over. So this gives us a way to meet the individual needs of our adult learners. So we're very excited about that. And parents will have an opportunity to shop the book fair. It is an adult swim on Wednesday, adults only and adult only shopping in it'll be open to the adults who want to go shopping before the community workshop on Wednesday. I thought there was one more thing. I had written it down. I think that's it. We do have a food drive going on. I'm sure that's also going to be mentioned in the PTO notes, and a clothing drive is ongoing also. So I think those are the main things. And the toy drive, we'll be messaging more about that. But we are joining with Ocoee Police Department to participate in their annual holiday toy drive. So those are the main notes for now.
Great. Kathy.
Thank you.
Kathleen, are you sharing for John? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So, hi everybody. I'm going to fill in for John tonight. His son had a performance that he didn't want to miss out on. So, us senior parents don't want to miss anything anymore. So at the secondary campus, we have had in the last couple weeks since our last meeting, our October and our November professional development series. So in order to kind of talk, as we talk about our action plan and meeting those goals, particularly for our lowest quartile and our ESE students, we've been providing PDs to build teacher capacity. And so last month we had a really great PD on formative assessments and got the teachers up and engaged and actually participating in actually how to use those. They had to actually be the students in some of those formative assessments. So that was fun to see them kind of switch roles. And we did the same thing last week with reteaching strategies. So and that falls in line with our goals along with PLCs, because what do we do when we find out they didn't learn it? Like, what do we do? So through a lot of practical, easy reteaching strategies at our teachers to try to help build their teacher toolbox over the last month. So that was fun to see them kind of sit in a student role for a few hours. We have our fall friendship feast. I can't remember if they said it was feast or fest next week. I keep calling it a fest, but I think it's a feast. We're gonna do both. We're gonna feast and fest. I know that traditionally the middle school have always had something, and then the high school had always had something. So as they merged last year, they created one big event. So this will be our second annual, where the students have activities and they all bring in food, and it's just a really great time of friendship and community building and relationship building between the kids and the staff. And so we're really looking forward to that next week before we leave for that Thanksgiving break. Last Friday, we had a really great field trip to the Renaissance Fair, to the Ren Fair. We had 3/4 of our students went. We had 5 charter buses full of kiddos that went. And so about 230 of our kiddos went. So, and they had a really, really great time. And let me tell you, the costumes were amazing. The amount of kids and parents that showed up in costume, it blew me away. I was not I didn't know they were going to come in costume, and then I saw them all. I'm like, oh my gosh! So it was really great. We wanted to do a big shout out to our PTO. They did a coffee with Dr. John last week, and he got to meet with some parents that came in just to ask questions, and some great ideas came about, some things that we hadn't thought about. So that was, thank you for sponsoring that. And we also want to do a really big shout out to the PTO. They did a coffee bar upstairs in the staff workroom. They've been refilling it. It has been an absolute hit. And the teachers are so appreciative. Because my office is kind of outside the teacher lounge and I tend to work with my door open. I have heard and seen more teachers in there talking and collaborating and just building their community around that coffee bar. There's snacks and everything. So thank you so much. I know that it's quite a project to get something like that and to keep it. It has yet to run empty. And so thank you guys so much for that. I think that's all the updates Dawn and I talked about earlier, but big shout out to the PTO. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. And to piggyback on the secondary, I don't know if you got to watch the highlights from last week, but we really wanted to feature the incubator program. And the goal from that is not just to let new families know about our secondary incubator program, but also we often hear in surveys or parent feedback is elementary is not sure what secondary looks like. So if you haven't had an opportunity to watch that, I would definitely do it. We met with the 2 lead teachers, Miss Allison and Miss Renee, but then also had 4 students at different age levels to share their perspective on the incubator program. So I definitely, if you get a chance to get on and listen to that, it was pretty impressive of what they're building. Let's go with Melissa.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I agree with Kathy and Kathleen about what all the fabulous community events that have been taking place. Just this past weekend with Fall Fest and having an amazing turnout of staff and families all coming together as a community. It was really wonderful to see. And also the secondary play was just the actors that we have. They're just fantastic, glowing on stage and having so much fun. Miss Lily and the student director, Bella, who directed the secondary high school play. Wow, it just blew me away, and they are going to be performing with thousands of students coming up at I think it's at Innovation High School. So if people didn't get a chance to see, there'll be another opportunity to see the student shine in that. But it was really incredible to see. Yeah, and then the book fair going on, as Kathy mentioned, really exciting to see so many community events taking place. I want to share a little bit about some of our development with our PLCs that we have at both campuses. So that is one of our main goals this year, as we've spoken of them several meetings. But We had our elementary, our first teacher-led PLCs happen last week, Wednesday, and the teacher facilitators were fantastic. Elementary admin had a chance to come together and share some feedback with teams, and they already are thinking about their next PLC that we have coming up in December. So that's been amazing. And at secondary, their first teacher facilitator led PLCs will be coming up next week. So that is very exciting. We got input. We solicited input from all the teacher facilitators at both campuses. And we know one of our goals is having that cross-campus collaboration and that unity in instructional techniques. And so when teacher facilitators at both campuses shared input on how we want our IMO PLCs to function, then admin from both campuses came together and synthesized those into our PLC mission and vision. So that was a big work for us. And yeah, I wanted to take just a moment to read those mission and visions that we came up with as well. So, so the mission. Oh, I'll probably have to come back to that because. Oh, here we go. So our Innovation Montessori PLC mission vision created by staff, our facilitators are at Innovation Montessori. Our professional learning communities empower educators to collaborate, grow, and share best practices to enhance teacher expertise and ensure equitable, high-quality learning for all students. And our vision is at Innovation Montessori, our professional learning communities envision a dynamic blend of Montessori philosophy and state standards, fostering collaborative teacher growth to prepare students not only for academic success, but for a purposeful, well-prepared life. So we are very excited that that work is underway at both campuses. And I know that John, Kathleen, and I are really excited to observe and support the first secondary PLCs coming up next week. Another update we have, so Heather shared about the needs assessment. So we're looking forward to working more on that to provide some fantastic professional learning opportunities for our staff that will filter to our students the experience that they have in the classrooms every day. We have growth happening in our MTSS processes. So our Skills for Learning, Life and Behavior Committee is meeting to develop that handbook. And so the work is pushed out to teams across campus to develop interventions in tier 2 and tier 3 to develop our 3 to 5 behavior expectations that will be consistent across campuses, so that high quality tier 1 instruction in skills for learning and life and behavior. So that's really exciting work that we have, and we are anticipating that handbook being completed by the end of the year, so in December. Just yesterday, Kathleen Kane, our dean at elementary, Kathleen Robinson on the call tonight, assistant principal, and Sheila Berry, our MTSS coach, and we participated in what's called the OCPS MTSS B session, which is focused on behavior learning, and a lot of resources were shared there that we can then utilize in our handbook for high fidelity interventions at the tier 2 and tier 3 level, as well as resources that can inform our tier 1 practices. So those are a few of the items that we have. We also had in our Montessori practices at elementary, all of the assistants have completed all 4 modules of the Montessori 101 and assistance training from National Center for Montessori in the Public Sector, as well as new to Montessori staff. So Yeah, that's a little bit about what we have going on in terms of our PLCs, our MTSS, and some of those cross campus. One other thing that I thought of, Eileen has been working really hard on this is, and our admin team came together and have planned that cross campus event for staff to come together in December. So we're just she's finalizing a few of those pieces. So we are excited that staff are going to get to have that opportunity to collaborate cross campus, as that was such a success having the staff swap just a couple months ago.
Heather, I had a question. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, Melissa's doing like outstanding strategic work that ultimately will help reach the corresponding goals. Is there, I mean, those are like May goals. Is there anything to help understand like progress made along the way?
Yeah, so we'll have a couple pieces of data. One, of course, will be once we get PM2 data. So we have that'll be, coming up in probably, well, it's mid-year. So what will happen, Melissa and I actually met and talked about this today. We'll then start breaking apart that data to see what students are doing, making progress. Of course, we have iReady, so that's for our MTSS students, and then also at the high school level doing that lowest quartile that they've been working on. So we'll have that data as well to share. It sounds as though the handbook's going to be finished prior to the end of the year. So our next step is going to be strategies that we really start diving into. I think one of the things we have to remember is right now we are building the foundation and we don't want to jump and say, oh, let's bypass this because we want to get right to the kids, which is ultimately what we want. So it's all about growing our staff and growing our educators. They're already experts. So how do we utilize them to hone in on those best practices and start sharing that information? So that's really the foundational part. I know you're looking for that quantitative, like, show me the results. But it's really going to be,
It takes some time.
it is. And so it's going to be right now a lot of, like, you're welcome to come in and observe. So it, like I said before, at the secondary level, they've created, and I've just been a part of the observation tool. So we do those calibrations so that we're all talking the same language. So we would have that data, like observations. The evaluation is really going to be about that growth piece and what's your next steps. It's about coaching facilitators. And as she said, like after they ran their first one, got together and then really gave back that actionable feedback of, hey, this went great. This is what we can do next. And so it really is going to be it's not necessarily a piece of paper product. It's the observations, it's the coaching, it's the behind the scenes that will lead to, I think, overall student growth, which is our goal. Especially, I mean, academics are huge. Math is like our huge, big focus, but we don't want to forget about ELA, but also behavior, because that's one of the things that if you talk to a lot of staff, that's impeding a lot of learning. So sending our staff to talk to or to learn about research-based strategies. And we had great conversations today about the importance of those research-based strategies, but then how do we get that into all classrooms? And so it's building that foundational pieces. As far as actual data will be once we start getting back that second round of assessments. I don't know if Melissa, I don't think she shared it, but the math committee shared or created a formative assessment. And so they are giving that, and then we're going to follow that back up to see how did the students do? And that's something that they have created on their own to figure out. So by next year, we can do those a little bit more often to kind of get that pulse about.
Thanks. Yeah, I understand like it's going to take some while. All those upfront work to come to fruition. So I'm happy to hear there's like milestones you guys are.
Oh, absolutely. And so our action plan, I can share just a quick little piece of it with you. Could you?
Yep.
Yeah. And this is actually the needs assessment. So we really have an action plan for both buildings, but for the needs assessment, we came together for this. But this is kind of what it looks like. So that you would see, so you can see like we have each month planned out what's happening. And then we go down and we progress monitor. Okay, what happened? What did we have to move? What's next? So when I said I've got to meet with administrators this week to talk about what happened in October and what are we moving. So you'll see that for every goal. This is what we're going to do, the dates that are going to do it, who's responsible for it. And then we'll come down and talk about like, okay, well, this tied in everything that happened on the top one. We're going to move to the next one. So that's how we have it lined up. And then we have one just for PLCs, the same thing. So we know at that point what took place, what's next, what do we. So again, it's us behind the scenes saying, okay, this happened, this didn't happen, let's move this kind of thing. We'll also see more, hopefully, once we get the funds to send staff, we already have plans in place to say, you'll be able to see here the PD and monitoring piece. So what do we want to send them to? And then what's the description of it? How are we going to engage them and how are we going to monitor that? So that was something we shared with the needs assessment team today, is to say, this is what's going to happen from the PDs that we send to. We also talked about, okay, what does the summer look like and how can we rework funding to give teachers time in July to really get into the lesson development and planning piece, and then being able to share through like what they learned. One of the things I've done in a previous position was we actually had, it was of course district wide, but almost a community conference PLC or PL day that teachers would sign up and go. So we would host, we'd bring people in. So maybe utilizing that type of system. So throughout the day, a teacher could say, okay, I really want to hone my craft into this. So I'm going to go to this session. So we've already kind of been talking through like what that would look like. So those are kind of the next steps as well for that.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have a question. By the way, this all looks really great, very ambitious, very detailed. Thank you for showing that. I'm really excited about this initiative. I have a question. Has there been any discussion or consideration for engaging the parents to be sort of part of this mission? And I'll just give an example, and I know this might be controversial. Optional homework. Like for example, I mean, I've been in the situation where my kids have been behind and struggling, and to find out like, oh, we could actually log in a couple times a week on iReady. And like, for me as a parent, that kind of encouragement, I don't look at it like, oh no, homework. It's like, no, I actually rather have my kid do that than sit on Roblox or Minecraft or whatever.
Yeah.
That there may be like beyond what you guys can all accomplish in the school day, maybe as part of some of these education nights or whatever, when the time is appropriate, to talk about ways that, and I think like parents often just need some guidance, like what can we do at home, maybe an hour a week to kind of help move the needle.
Yeah. So we actually talked about that today in our needs. So we had some parents on board.
Good topic.
Yeah. So one of our parents, that's what they spoke up and said, how can we help? So even an idea of, we're having our night tomorrow night with that is in the spring to do that again after they've attended some of the sessions and rework it to make it friendly for the community, for parents to be able to support. I don't want to turn into overloading with homework because research would tell you that's not beneficial, but giving parents strategies of things that they could work on academically and or behaviorally, because that's also a huge thing. A lot of times, not always, but a lot of the behaviors we see here are things that we really can't control because it's happening at home. So how do we, and then it's carrying over. So how do we merge those two together and what does that look like? So that is already mentioned today. And then how do we share that maybe at the next parent PD night, whatever we call that in the spring, of giving parents exactly what you're saying. Hey, here's some free resources if you want to focus on math, or if you want to help your child learn to read, and or if you need help with behavior. And it was even mentioned today, the secondary level, like how do you, raise an adolescent behavior and all of those kind of things. So, and what does 7th grade really look like? coming over and those. So yeah, those are discussions that we've already talked about today and already had started thinking about what would that look like to offer that.
At one point, did we not have it, or we did? I think we had it at one point. Because it's like, where can we house that, right? Where
Mhm.
parents could easily go get
Mhm.
it, pull it up. Here's 3 to 5. Here's, blah, blah, primary, whatever it is. I think we had it at one point on the home website where
We do, don't we?
at one point there was like
We have
homework help or like
Yeah, we have
suggestions.
that.
So maybe we could build that out a
Mhm.
little bit more on what that would be for
Mhm.
families, especially on like if you guys are seeing a need in an
Right.
area,
Right.
or we highlight it weekly and the parent square post that's directed to like, we need help with this
Mhm.
behavior at school, right? Like, so can you work on sweeping in primary? Can you work on
Right.
picking up your room in
Right.
in lower L? Can you work on handwriting in upper L, right? Like, or whatever it is, little things that maybe we could do as a weekly homework, kind of thing, but it could be general, but
Right.
just something there that might benefit that piece. And
Absolutely.
Or even the access to Prodigy and stuff like that. Like we used to, well, during COVID days, those used to come home, but
Yeah.
my kids are like, we want to play Prodigy again.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for the pro one, but if it's
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think optional homework is always out there as an option, but that's for
Yeah.
parents to figure.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want us to ever get to the point where teachers are, because that's not our
Yeah.
model. Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
But if we could find some guidance, because I think most parents I know are supplementing, but it's like, is this right? Is this going to jive with the Montessori curriculum? I don't want to teach you old school 90s math.
yeah.
And then that's not going to jive. So if there's some
Yeah.
guidance, that would be lovely.
Kathy, would parents be welcome to like talk to their own students, teachers to?
Yeah, absolutely. If, always to find out what areas are maybe needing strength. But honestly, like text grade level workbooks, if we have parents who are really motivated for that, are an option. We don't expect that the parents are going to be delivering Montessori material lessons or stuff like that, But yeah, anything that's grade level is useful. But again, like Heather said, the research isn't showing much benefit from the homework thing. But I know there are actually parents, but even more importantly, kids who like to do academic work at home. And so those grade level workbooks can be helpful.
Mhm.
And just to piggyback on that, tomorrow night, I know I saw Kamani is on here. He has a session focused specifically on Montessori at home. And I'm leading a session on literacy in your child, and some of that research about how to support children at home with literacy development will be shared in that session. So I know Kathy and Heather shared important kind of research findings, but reading with children, having that routine at home for reading with children, reading aloud to children increases their vocabulary development. It instills that love of reading. It activates the pleasure center in children associated with reading. So then when they come to school and they're engaging in their literacy work at school, they're more attuned to it. They're more inclined to do it, and they see it as something pleasurable and enjoyable. So I'd recommend attending those sessions for sure. And Kathleen Robinson on the call tonight, she observed some aspects of homework with children. Sometimes we might not think about families who don't have access to resources at home, and having the expectation of having the homework. Maybe Kathleen, could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, particularly I think we maybe see it more in secondary, but I would say more there it is in elementary, like particularly your Title I schools, you see a lot of it, but it becomes an equity issue with homework because particularly if they're digital resources, some of our families don't have internet at home. They don't have devices. I mean, at our campus, our kids do have iPads they can bring home, but that doesn't mean they have an ability to connect them when they do get home. And so there's a lot of research out there that shows that you see a huge disparity in homework completion or even attempting of homework as you see your kids in lower socioeconomic in those marginalized communities. So it does create an equity issue. We had a discussion about this last week in our PD about kids not reading what required homework reading outside the classroom. And when you're going home and you're maybe watching 3 kids while mom is at work, like when are you going to read 4 pages of Antigone? Like, I mean, so we have to realize sometimes that there's a lot of research that proves that homework is not effective. That's a whole nother conversation, but it does create an equity issue. So we kind of had a discussion about that. We have to remember that our population, particularly at the secondary campus, we do have a lot of students that fall in that category. And so we gotta consider those issues when we're requiring things of students that may not be reasonable for them once they leave our campus.
Yeah.
So let me put some data behind that because I have it in my notes too. Almost 32% of your students at secondary fall into economically needy, where they would qualify for
Free and reduced
lunch.
Yeah.
25.2% on this campus, and even 15, almost 16% of your CASA students.
Oh, wow.
So your demographics have certainly changed in the last 10 years. But Kathleen is definitely calling out something that we have data to support that there is some need at home for sure.
So I think, yeah, if we can get parents to attend like tomorrow's event, and getting that, but then, we can definitely look at maybe even putting some of the resources that they share tomorrow night on the website. So that'll
Yeah,
be
that'd
out
be-
there,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then we'll just keep working
Yeah.
through that.
Are these seminars going to be recorded so people can reference them later?
I don't think so. I don't think we set it up that way. Kathy's shaking her head no.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I know everybody's busy and stuff like that, but I really would like to start seeing the community come out more. It was kind of like the Peace Corner Cafe that we had. It was very low attendance. It was a good conversation, but it's like, okay, let's try to get some more of that community involvement.
And it is fair to note, I think too, that teachers are donating their time, like no one's getting extra pay for showing up tomorrow night. So like Heather said, we would love to see that dedication rewarded with attendance. And Melissa, thank you so much for bringing up that point about the workshop tomorrow. That's an excellent point. Also the joy in the learning, which is an important reason that we think about homework the way we do. But I also, as you mentioned it, Melissa, want to call out that Cindy Hoback is also doing a presentation tomorrow night on math games and fact fluency and giving strategies for working with math at home. So that's another good resource.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Were there any other questions or topics about those overall updates? Oh, Stephen?
Stephen, do you have anything else you want to share?
For the ops side, a couple big things. We are starting our E-rate bid now for 2027. So that's going to occupy a lot of the IT director's time.
That portion.
That 20%, right? The big thing for the board is because it happened last time. If for some reason, and it would probably be you, Stacy,
Yeah.
if a vendor reaches out to you, you have to direct them to me. We can't talk to them at all. We have to go through a very specific process.
I just delete those emails.
Forward them to you if I can.
The plus side of that is, and I guess the plus side of our free and reduced percentage being where it is, we qualified for E-rate 50% again. And over the next 5 years, we have a funding pool of about $250,000 that we can use for equipment. We'll eat through that as part of a contract, but those are resources that are going to be coming back to the school and part of our budget. Other things for us, Base is getting ready to do their show choir and theater club productions. I'm very excited about that. So we'll start opening ticket sales for that next week. Clubs are going to be reshuffled in the spring. We're adding a whole bunch. Those will be announced next week, but we've got some really cool stuff coming. I'm very, very excited. Mr. Tito and his crew completed putting up our marketing boards on the front of all the buildings. So I know that ties into some other initiatives we're working on the marketing and trying to get some of that corporate sponsorship in. And then the last thing is we are working through Security Grant 6 to make sure we exhaust that pool of money, doing some fencing improvements and some security focused stuff on both campuses. Those projects will wrap up in December. So we're in a pretty good place as far as the outside of it goes.
Alicia, do you have anything?
Yeah, so I'm working on hiring more positions, a few substitutes for all campuses. A lot of times we do get substitutes who are very interested in teaching primary age, lower elementary, but not so much with the older students. They're typically just not as familiar with those students. So looking for some people who are excited about doing that. And then hiring a few people in base, a lunch aide, a teacher assistant, and a custodian. And then I've also been working on just completing all of the out of field teacher paperwork that needs to be submitted to the district. Still working on the website, met with Stephen on that today. And then next kind of bigger project is going to be uploading and entering all of the in-service points that will be entered for the first semester. That'll be recorded for the teachers for their PD. I don't know.
Did we have another approval that we needed for the out of service
Yeah.
tonight?
Yep, that's next.
Okay. I feel like we just did that.
We
Am I like,
did.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I'm like,
Yeah, we had to add what two? Yeah,
okay.
All right.
so we'll go into that.
Yeah, we're ready for that. Yep. Go ahead. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. All right. So we've got a new approval. So you said there were just 2 added?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the whole list.
This is the whole list.
but-
Okay.
So David Corrales and Alexandria Ritzy, just out of field for East Hall.
Okay.
And they're both working.
All right. Okay. And anyone who's listening, this is all public information on board docs if you're interested. Okay. So what do we need to?
We need a
We
motion.
need,
Perfect.
Yeah. What, say that?
Moving to.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Field designation for these 2 people.
Do you have to send home a letter to the classrooms for
Yeah,
those? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
And it has to be posted on our website,
Mhm.
specific names.
Oh, I'm second the motion.
All those in favor? Any,
Aye.
any opposed? All right, motion carries. Out of field
Alright.
approved teachers are approved.
okay.
Keep them rolling.
All right. Okay. Anything else, Heather, on your end?
We'll talk about enrollment, all that stuff when we get to the budget stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead to the PTO update. Karen wasn't able to make it tonight, but she sent that along to me, so I will read that for us here. Okay, so here's the PTO report for November. The Fall Fest was held at Amber Brook Farms again this past weekend, and it was a hit. She says, many, many thanks to the board for attending and hosting a booth. The PTO loved having you there, and the families really noticed and felt your presence. Hope you'll be at the Spring Fest with us. We're still tallying costs from the Fall Fest, but it appears that we brought in a smidge under $18,000. So great job to our families. The book fair is happening in the NPR for kindergarten through 6th graders, and it's going on now through November 14th. We are selling both online and in person this week. Profits go to teacher professional development. And we did mention we will have a parents' night on Thursday. Is that right? Or tomorrow? Tomorrow's Wednesday. On Wednesday night, if parents want to come and shop without the kiddos. Okay. Speaking of our teachers, our hospitality chairs have set up and stocked coffee and snack stations at both campuses in the break rooms. Thank you so much, PTO hospitality crew, for that. Karen says a big thank you to Dr. John for leading another installment of Morning Joe with Dr. John on November 3rd. Gardening efforts continue at both campuses. So if anyone's interested in gardening, check out Parent Square and you can sign up to volunteer. And Winterfest is coming, and we're hopeful that all families will join us. December 12th, it's from 5 to 7:30 at the secondary campus cafeteria. Student makers will be selling their goods, and student clubs will be fundraising, so save that date. Karen's also listed out some upcoming events. So their next PTO meeting will be held on December 2nd at 9 a.m. online. Gardening days will continue on the second Saturdays and fourth Sundays of each month. We just mentioned Winterfest, December 12th, 5 to 7. another coffee with Dr. John, February 10th, and Springfest is going to be February 28th. So thank you, Karen and the PTO, for all you do. We appreciate you. All right. Okay, so our next topic is going to be Kevin with your monthly financial update.
And Miranda's on here too, if you need.
Yeah, so we
And Miranda.
haven't had another finance meeting. Well, we did have another finance
Yeah.
meeting after the last board meeting. We didn't get new financials since the last board meeting. The big thing, of course, was the budget amendment. We had a sneak preview conversation about that the last time we met. I think the finance committee got some details on that. Now you've got that in your agenda packet. I know that some of the finer details Miranda and Heather may want to go through. There's a couple big things we've gotten questions about that are worth just mentioning at the outset. One is the significant increase in the amount allocated for debt service. That is really not the result of any change in plans. It's just a result of a change in how the accountants are reflecting it in our documents. So as you all know, we changed bookkeeping team since the last time we did this. And so we had in the way the financials were presented before, instead of looking at balance sheet, we're looking at net position, and instead of looking at the whole budget on a month-to-month basis, often we were looking at kind of an operating budget. And so we had thought of the money that was held by our bond trustee as not our money. We didn't think of that as ours. And so when you look at our fund balance, when the new accountants took over, and I think they're correctly stating it, but when the new accountants took over, our fund balance went from a few $100,000 to like several $1,000,000. We didn't suddenly get several $1,000,000. It's just that the money that is being held by the bond trustee is part of our fund balance, and it's properly reflected there. So while we have to see that increase and know that it doesn't mean we have several million extra dollars to spend, because those are all restricted funds, it is proper to reflect them there. But kind of similar to that, we had over the past fiscal year, not this fiscal year, but last year, been taking money and giving it to the bond trustee because we had a payment of principal on our big debt that was due the first day of this fiscal year on July 1st. And that payment was made on July 1st, but wasn't shown in our budget because we didn't really think of that as our money when we had looked at our books in the past. So we were putting that out in the cloud with our bond trustee, knowing that it would be paid on July 1st, but thinking it was already gone. Well, that was still our money. It wasn't already gone. And so since it was still our money and it wasn't already gone, we needed to show it as something that we spent this year. So we didn't have to take any money out of our local bank accounts here to do that. It's already done. It's already gone. No change of plans. It's just that the money that's been sitting with UMB at Wall Street has now been given to bondholders. It's not ours anymore. That was a mistake. I mean, it should have been reflected there, but I think that that's just kind of a result of changing the way we're looking at that. The amount that we had to pay on our principal balance was $325,000, if I'm not mistaken. That'll increase to $340,000 next year. It's like any mortgage, the interest goes down over time and the principal you have to pay goes up over time. The adjustment to overall debt service is less than $325,000. We had actually been conservative in the way we had budgeted for our interest payments that are due this year. So because we were belt tightening a little bit and trying to get this thing to work, the amount that it falls to the bottom line is less than $325,000. I don't have the number right here in front of me, but that's why it doesn't come out to an even number. The other big changes you'll see are just in the revenue side, the FTEs, the Florida Educational, the FEFBs are lower because they are a per capita payment. Every one student we have less is $1 less we have of those. Capital outlay is also associated with that as well.
$3,500.
Even so, we still come through with a positive change in our fund balance for the year. It is not a positive change that is sufficient to cover all the depreciation on our buildings. We don't see depreciation on our financial statements because things are expensed in the year you buy them when you're doing governmental accounting. But over time, we will need to come up with a better way of reserving for things like big air conditioner purchases and those kinds of things, because while we're happy that the amount of money we have is growing year over year, one day we'll need to buy something big. So the solution to that is to get enrollment back where it ought to be. We were, along with every other public school, I think probably in the county,
Yeah,
suffered a
that's
change in
great.
enrollment because of some changes in laws and changes of funding that are available to parents who take their children to private schools or homeschool. And so this wasn't unique to IMO. There's nothing that I think we did wrong that affected our enrollment. Our enrollment was probably down on a percentage basis, less than enrollment at the public schools at
Oh,
large.
yeah, 100%.
But you know, it's something to be aware of. So we're happy this year. Things are fine. We're bringing in more money than we're spending, which we're a nonprofit, so over time we break even. So that's a good thing. But we will have some things to think about in the future. But in any event, that's the big picture, I think, on changes in the budget. Meanwhile, just to accommodate the changes in revenue, we took a more careful look at some of our expenses because we had been a little bit conservative, and just reducing the expense amounts to the realities, which is a good thing. We're happy to see that we haven't had to spend quite as much as we thought we might need to. And I'll let Heather talk about any of those that are worth talking about. But one other thing that moved in kind of a big jump, there's a $75,000 FF&E purchase. We're buying furniture and equipment that can be paid for with what's left with our loan proceeds that are sitting in Wall Street. And we had not put those in their own special line item to be paid for with the building acquisition fund. So you'll see that we're spending 75,000 this year on building acquisition. Well, that's what that is. It's actually being placed there because that big financing source overall was for acquiring our facilities. This is just spending what's close to the remaining balance of that.
Right. We should be
furniture.
finished with that.
Yep. So you're going to see this big, $75,000 expenditure, but that's money that, again, we had thought of as being money we would get later, but it's been ours all along, sitting with our bond trustee, and it's now finally being spent on that. So otherwise, I think it's mostly relatively small changes. But
It is. So I took kind of your all's questions and compiled them together. So overall down enrollment, we're down 57 students. That is a loss of revenue of $456,000. Within that 57, though, I will say that if you remember, we did not count for the additional 22 students in the upper L when we did our enrollment numbers. But I still take it as a loss because we're still paying that expense. So we are down that. We do currently have, so secondary is down 33 students total. Miss Cindy sent me her notes. We do have 9 students on the waiting list that she's getting ready to start in processing. 2 is already, in addition to that, is in process. And we already have 3 that, because we just opened enrollment that's already applied for next year. So that's a good thing. I did not get to speak with Kiana to see where we're at, but the big thing to remember is we really need them in by February because that's when we'll get another enrollment count. So that will tell us that. A question about our 5,100 instruction, like how we were able to reduce 366,000. The biggest things were, we always project a flat rate of 55,000 for incoming staff, instructional staff, because we don't know what years of service they'll have, what they're bringing in. So we were able to adjust that as we came through. We were also able to look at retirement and health. So in May, if you recall, and then for people that weren't here, you'll be able to see it. We do an assumption page, like that every person is going to take retirement and or health insurance because we don't know that for sure. And so once we get those final numbers, that's why we always do a budget amendment around this time anyways. So that was that cost savings. Administration went up, but that really isn't because we added anything. It was because we had to recode some people. We had a couple of staff that were coming out of our teacher assistants that really should have been coded in administration. So you'll see a dip in teacher assistants, but it's just picked right back up into administration. So that was a difference of 39,000. There was a question about clubs and revenues and those expense codes. So just so you know, clubs, that is ran out of base. That revenue code is under 3477 and the expenses out of 5,100, 510. But, really, we just do placeholders for those because again, we'll say we're getting $15,000 revenue and taking out $15,000 expense. Field trips, clubs, those are things that we're not really sure about. So it's really gonna always be a wash. There's not really clubs
You're not
this year. We
making
hope
money
that
off
we make some money on
Yeah.
because we're doing it different this year. So we'll have a little bit better data, but in the past we didn't. It was, we just made enough to pay the staff member and that's it. But we're hoping to draw some revenue, but field trips is gonna be in and out,
Yeah.
you know, that change. Base, that code two, if you'll look as you go through, the expenses under 3473, but revenue is under 9100. Our goal is to make money off of base. And so Mr. Steven is working with Courtney and that's why they're offering additional programming and those kind of things. Somebody asked about the facility acquisition. Kevin already explained
Yeah.
that. We just moved that from 8,100 to 7,400. So we had to create a new code since that was money that was already coming from the bond. And overall debt, he explained that, but you know, besides the 325,000, when you take the hit of enrollment, it equals $809,000 that we had to shift. So I think overall, what I would say is, at first I thought we were going to have to reduce staff, but we've been able to move things around. You know, I'm very cautious when I budget. I always budget high on everything because I would rather be excited than to reduce. And so we were able to make it through this year without the reduction of staff. However, we can't operate like that. So I've already met with administrators. We already know going in, either enrollment goes up or we're going to have to reduce things.
Heather, when you say this year, you mean for the 25-26 school year?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm sorry. Yes. So for the school year, so we don't have to reduce this year. But next year we're going to have to either get enrollment up or.
We've got classrooms that we could be filling or, you know, so
Absolutely.
if they're not filled, then
And,
there's-
you know, I want to give a shout out to the PR marketing committee. Everybody's working really, really hard. It's not for a lack of not trying. Nicole, she has done an excellent job. You know, I know her role is PTO, but you know, she has all of that experience. So she's been working, honestly, she's done all the work and she's just ran it through me, West Orange Times. So we'll have a weekly ad in that. We're going to have a header at the top of their page that they can click on. Karen, you know, her and I met for about 2 hours. But it was really, really good. And then I know that Stephen and Karen met too about the website and looking through that process. And then she probably will share more about the committee she did last month of how we're going to kind of merge those two. So we are really trying with enrollment, but right now it's just a hard time everywhere, not just us. So we are going to have to really look at that to say, are we able to fill the seats? And if not, make some tough decisions on that.
Yeah.
For that.
Well, I think we also have to recognize the team, right? Like you and the admin team who really went to town on figuring out the budget and making it work. So, I mean, like we have to commend you because that was tough decisions and you were able to do it without having the cuts where it would affect our staff. And that's important. But kudos for the collaboration and making it work. That's tough.
That happened last year, so that this,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine how devastating it
Yeah.
would be if you had plowed through everything.
Yeah.
And I shared with you all the PDF of the items. I've just never shared that before. It's typically just the overview, but like if you really want to get in the weeds, you can see the variance of it. But it really is about number games and, you know, like what can we look at without having to reduce staff? I did not want that to happen again. So.
Have we gotten any help on the interest rate side? I know Mrs. Lilly has brought that up in the past.
No, I don't think we've had any help with that, but I know Kevin, Lily and I are supposed to meet with, I always want to say Seacoast, but that's not it. Suncoast Credit Union. You know, I don't know if you remember, they came out and looked at different donation things that we could possibly do, but they had asked if we wanted to meet just to kind of see what they have to offer. You know, they're bringing a team on Friday for that to start looking at those things, see what we can do.
So I'm assuming it's that money that we have.
Like a money market
Yeah.
kind of piece.
just seems like a good area that's
Yeah.
passive income that
Yeah.
could help.
It'll matter more in the future when there's more money there, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a worthwhile exercise.
Right. And I think too, like, we do have the one investment of the 1.9 that we're doing, but that all goes back to the bond. So those proceeds all go back into that, the bond. But I know the money that we were able to set back last year, which is also helping us this year. Yeah, right now it's not really large, but we can hopefully grow that over time. Any other questions about the budget? And Miranda, I know you're on here. If there's anything that we missed or that you want to share, feel free to do so. I appreciate you sitting on here.
You're welcome. No, I think I covered everything, but if anybody has any questions.
Anybody have anything else?
The only other question I was having is I know that they were working hard to get us like caught up more so, on closer to on track with our budgeting and our readouts. Where are we in that process where we're not like 3 months behind on getting updated data?
From my perspective, it's been improving steadily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of it is making sure that we're providing the data timely, correctly. Because the less they have to fix, the easier it is
Yeah.
for them to provide the report. So hopefully they've perceived an improvement in that regard. But I think the financials that we were reviewing between our last board meeting
Yeah.
today, I think it was October 28th.
Okay.
Right.
We were
Good.
pretty up to date. So
Yeah, that is much better.
Yeah, and I think too is a little bit of the timing of our meetings. So like the finance meeting isn't till the fourth Tuesday. So that's in time to get the financials, but really we've already had
Yeah.
board
Yeah.
meeting on the second
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Right.
So it's almost like, it
Yeah,
almost needed to be like a third Tuesday of finance and then fourth Tuesday of board meeting to get it right back to back. So you're always having a delay for that.
the
Goals for
presentation
next
of the
year.
board meeting is always going to be
Yeah.
6 weeks, from the closing of the books, because
Yeah.
it can't be done in 2 weeks,
No.
a week and a half.
Yeah, everything has to be done to OCPS by the 20th of the month. So we would have it then, but then again, the board meeting's already over
Yeah.
by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why you're always seeing that
Yeah.
delay.
Any other questions before we make a motion? Because we have to approve the new budget, right?
Yeah.
Any last thoughts? We'll make a motion to approve the updated fiscal year 26 budget as presented.
A second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, new budget is approved.
Before you move on, I had a couple other finance
Yep.
committee related things. I'd mentioned at our last meeting, so I don't think it's a surprise to anybody, and then talked about it at the finance committee meeting, wanting to formalize the auditor selection committee. There's a process that is required by statute for both coming up with your criteria for choosing an auditor and then going through the selection. And it seemed to me that the board agrees that the finance committee would be the right group to wear that hat as well as the finance committee hat. The statute says that the school's employees aren't allowed to serve on that committee, and at least one board member has to be on the committee. So the finance committee checks those boxes, and it seems to be appropriate. So as I understand it, those interested in officially, certifying their membership on that committee are Stacy, Karen, Chris, myself, and anybody else who raises their hand right now. But if that's the group, I would ask for a motion and a vote, so it can be reflected in the minutes that that committee's been
That's 4
formed.
of us. That's enough, right?
Yeah,
There's no
the
minimum.
more the merrier, but
I make a motion to put the 4 of us on audit committee as a subcommittee of the finance
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
committee.
Any opposed? All right, your audit committee has passed.
and I'm gonna send you a paper to sign
Yeah,
that reflects that vote took place in the form of a little resolution. It says nothing more than we just said.
right. Put the next to us.
Okay. All right, anything else under the finance bucket? Okay. Finish my note there. All right. Y'all are too speedy. Okay, so next up, we've got our new topic to vote on our board candidates who we interviewed tonight. So do we do this one at a time? Do we?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first candidate who we interviewed, and sorry guys, this is all always a little awkward, but our first candidate that we interviewed was Chris. So does anyone have any feedback or questions or concerns about voting Chris on as a board member?
No, Chris has been attending committee meetings and for the finance committee and has been attending board meetings and has met all of the obligations that we require before moving to the vote. We interviewed him thoroughly this evening and then made him sit in the cold for a long time. Apologize for that again, especially on such a cool night. But I think that Chris does offer a different, we're always looking to diversify our board, right? That's just such an important aspect that we need to have different backgrounds and perspectives and viewpoints. And so I think that Chris does bring a diverse perspective through marketing, through event focused support, obviously the financial piece. He is a parent here at the school. We've talked about how we've tried to get outside people to come and be part of the board. But at the end of the day, you have to have a passion and a motivation to be on this board. And sometimes having a parent in the school or a student in the school is wonderful motivation to make this commitment. So I think that I would make the motion to move forward with a vote for Chris to be to join our board.
Will that be subject to the
Pending.
background check? And
Pending,
state
yes.
review?
We'll do a vote here in a second too, but pending obviously completion of training, completion of background check, reference checks already been completed for him, so that has been cleared. So no official forward momentum for him, but a fly on the wall until all of those things are completed. Is there any other discussion around that?
I mean, I think we asked Chris some good questions. I think he's very measured in his responses. He's very thoughtful. I think he's got great experience, both on his personal volunteer side, plus on what he does for his work. He got glowing responses from his references, and I got to speak with him for quite some time. So I think he's got a well-rounded background. It would be a real good asset to the team.
Yeah. All right. Any other further discussion before vote? Okay, can we have a vote for Chris? All those in favor of adding him to our board?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, vote carries. Welcome to the board, Chris.
All right. And next up is Mr. Ryan Fetchko, whom we also interviewed tonight and then left out in the cold. So thanks for bearing with us.
Hey, they got some good bonding time.
That's right. All right.
Oh yeah. So Ryan comes with a different, obviously background too, an engineering side and community involvement side. So again, another piece of the puzzle that we don't have, which is needed. So I think that it's always, sometimes I feel like we were getting the same kind of people there for a while, but it's nice to have such a diverse board and a background in here. So again, Ryan is very passionate, so much so that I heard that he may be creating die cuts out tonight of different shapes for some classroom. So kudos to that classroom. But obviously committed to the school, committed to improvement here, also a parent here. And that's important, right? Like I don't think that is a negative. I think that's a positive for us. And we spoke to both of them about wearing the parent hat versus the board hat and being able to recognize the role. And so that would be my continued advice in both of the situations. But I will put a motion on to move for a vote also for Ryan tonight. But is there any other further discussion regarding Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, again, Ryan's already very engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan has a lot of passion for the school that came through in his answers.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, I don't think we have an engineer.
Yeah.
That's a different way of analytical thinking and,
Mhm.
technology focus and all that. I
Mhm.
think bring a good different perspective to the board.
Mm-hmm.
I do need to check his references. That's just something another
Yeah.
contingency, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, overall, we're in good shape.
So pending reference check and completion of training and background. Put forth a vote. All those in favor in adding Ryan to our board?
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome, Ryan. So you guys get to tag team your training together tonight. Probably that cohort helps.
All right. Well, welcome,
Yeah.
both of you. We're very happy to have you. So thank you for.
That puts us to 9, right? Does that put us to 9?
Yeah, we're at 9.
Finally.
And we're all here too.
I know.
It's the first time for me.
Big interview.
We should do a picture.
This would be cute on the website. I'm here for that.
You should take a picture tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so next up on our agenda is going to be our committee updates. So let's see. Let's start. So the governance meeting we did push back, and we're gonna have those discussions at our board retreat. Just in case anyone missed that, so that will be a part of that meeting. Let's see. Do you want to go first, Marissa? Oh, Karen.
I can
Yeah,
go. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think I allowed it, but let me know if it doesn't let you do that.
So, I talked last time about an engagement and enrollment committee, so I'm going to share with you guys engagement and enrollment. So hold on. So real quick, I promise this won't be too long. It's only 32 slides. We had an engagement activity. I'm trying to minimize. Okay, you can see it. Just to have a board presence at Fall Fest and just get to meet parents. And we decided to lure the kids over by having them try to resolve the essential question, what's better, dogs or cats? So all in all, because I know you guys are dying to know, 47 votes for dogs, 39 votes for cats. But when the children voted and some parents voted, they had to share one thing that they really love about school and one thing that if they were like king for a day, they could change. So there was a lot of silliness. I tried and a lot of crazy answers. I tried to summarize. So what I thought was really cool is these were the things that could easily be bucketed. What I love about IMO, you can see like community, the people, right? The friends, the teachers. There was a lot of, I love my teacher. So like that just like warmed my heart. And then there was learning, a lot of kids. I love enrichments. I love the lessons. And then of course, recess. So that was really fun. And then finally, what I would change, these ones were more all over the place. So there's not like tall numbers for, but you had more, it would be like more longer recess, more playground stuff. I don't like the uniform in one way or another. More lunch every hour, ice cream instead of pizza for Pizza Friday. And then I don't know what something's happening at high school with balls, and I don't know what it is. But that came up.
I talked to the kid who wrote that.
Oh, okay.
So his feedback was around that the high school needs a fence because the balls go over, and you guys know more than me.
It'll be there in December. Just wait.
Really
Serious.
We are working on that issue.
And then the works was like no work. Okay, it's a little bit of fun.
Here we have parents asking for it.
On zeros.
On enrollment. So this is a problem, but there's a lot of upside. So our website, I have a tool we can go in and like get a bunch of information. is really only getting internal traffic. So what do I mean? Internal community traffic. We are only indexed for 46 search terms, and they're all like innovation Montessori, innovation Montessori parent page or whatever. And that we just do not show up. So like if a new community is built a mile or 2 miles from here and someone's searching for schools, our school will not show up in a Google search. But this is easily fixable. And Stephen and I have already met, and he already like raced ahead and started adding something called metadata to our pages to tell the search engines who we are. So because we use a lot of internal language on our sites, like CASA, primary, secondary, that's like if you search for a secondary school, we might come up, but people use common language words in search. So there's ways that we can keep and reference our internal language, but we've got to layer in common language into our website. And we also installed Google Analytics, Google Search Console. So I will be able to report to you how the changes that Stephen, sorry, I know you have a lot on your plate, are making, but they shouldn't be too.
The IT director knows.
Shouldn't burdensome on him. We will hopefully see the traffic respond, and we will be able to see that we are showing up for common school searcher languages. So we're going to target the school, the age brackets that you search for: middle, high, preschool, elementary school. We're also going to target geolocation. So we just got to get the search engine to know where are we, what are we near, as well as Montessori. We do rank for a lot of Montessori searches, but to get more detail. So that is an ongoing project. I will hopefully have good news to report as we work on this. And then alongside just attacking this, we want to launch a content team. And this is something I'll talk more with you, Heather, about, like getting, we'll figure out the structure of it, but like a weekly blog post, maybe the high schoolers can help do profiles on their incubator projects, just so there's fresh stuff being published at a regular cadence, to put more out there, to bring in more eyeballs.
And to piggyback off of that, Karen's giving me a ton of credit, but I just want you to know, she's writing the metadata and stuff. This is a tremendous amount of work for her. I appreciate that. I appreciate the partnership there, but also she gets big kudos from me because it is a ton of work.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that.
Is there a reason why that in the last, like, I don't know, couple weeks, when I go to hit maps, I would type in innovation and it would come up innovation, but now it says Montessori of Winter Garden.
Oh, interesting.
You can dig into that.
Yeah, I've just like, it's like all, I'm like, it's like now it's giving, it's like correcting it on maps.
With Google My Business profile, we can fix it if it's mislabeled. There's a way to claim our profile if we have it, and we can fix it. So I'll make it up.
Yeah.
You can also, in the business profile, set the radius of applicable area that you want it to be shown.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of search engines that index default for like charter schools is 5 miles.
Oh.
I just went through this in my dad's business, which is why I understand how this works. If you set it to like a broader area, like a wide area, it's gonna actually narrow down your search results and actually kind of diminish you.
Yeah.
If you set it to like a smaller radius, it's applicable to like where most of the student body is. Like, so if it's like a 5 mile radius, then you're actually have higher favorable results when you start searching like school for what comes up if it's near you. The other thing I had a thought here is Zillow.
Oh yeah.
Derives data from grade schools,
Mm-hmm.
but also they source data for schools from the MLS, multiple listing service. The Central Florida multiple listing service is somebody that we should contact. Let them know, hey, within the city of Ocoee, Winter Garden, Apopka, Orlando, unincorporated Orange, Innovation Montessori should be listed as an available school on realistic listings.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Awesome work. I love
Yeah.
the idea of thinking about reaching all the new communities that I'm seeing around the school. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
we're lucky that we're in an area of growth and
Yeah.
all of these
Not somebody that's already maxed out, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Space. Yeah. We.
developments and model homes and like connecting with those sales teams to know about the school to as a selling point to that community. I think we got a lot of opportunities.
That's a great idea. I can't
Opportunities
take
there.
credit for this. We have this amazing high school mom, Suzanne Benham.
Mhm.
I know her.
Did
Yeah.
school marketing for
Yeah.
a private school where they used to live and talked about creating, we can put this on the project list, folders for employers, realtors, so that when they're trying to sell someone on the area, they can introduce
Yeah,
their
that'd be great.
schools.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're a young family looking for a home,
Oh yeah.
nearby
Right.
is unicorn,
Yeah.
integrated school.
Yeah. Yeah.
That should be a great selling point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so the development committee, we have our meeting next week. So I'll just share a couple things. Stephen, myself, Miss Kathy, Amber, Boaz. So yeah, so we had the Florida Wildflower Foundation on campus on last Friday, and we're in the queue to get a grant with regards to planting. And so we did a walk of the campus. They were super impressed. Amber's, butterfly garden, they were just floored. And so like we're considering a secondary area of a different topography of a butterfly garden that's less, plants that are thriving in the more wet conditions where it is now, and higher up towards potentially by the basketball court. And Miss Kathy was there and thinking of like another area where students can come and decompress, regulate that whole thing. And then there's that pathway between primary and the elementary campus there. So that's currently where we're at with things. I don't know if I missed anything, Stephen, that you want to share on that
I
one.
think that was the decompression and stuff. That was amazing. I think that was a great call out for Miss Kathy. The butterfly garden as it exists now is a walking experience, right? What that team is envisioning is more of a, here's a place where we can come and sit and be in nature, be part of, we spend a lot of time and effort to maintain 18 beautiful acres of green space. Here's a way to be in that green space, in this beautiful environment. So I'm appreciative of Marissa for making the connection, for Amber for what she's doing. I think it's to be a great project once we get done with it in the spring.
Gold for the blog. Think of the
All about the vlog. All about it.
So I will be sending out more information. Believe it or not, Giving Tuesday is coming up, and we've been on a good rhythm of getting some great donations on Giving Tuesday. So I think that's December 2nd. Wawa emailed me and said, "Hey,
you want your ticket?
do you want?" Yeah, so I'm like, they're so close with me now that they're asking me if I want. So we've got those.
They're gonna give us more this year, right? So we don't run out.
Max out at 250.
Oh,
that's so good. So we get the max.
That's good.
Yeah, so more to come there. And I'm getting great help on some graphics from Amber New Street about enrichments and what that will look like, and updating the website, updating the focus for this 2026 focus.
Will you need our help handing out that stuff?
I will.
Yeah,
So be looking out for an email
I'll be
as
there,
I
yeah.
get my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else, Sarah, you wanted to chime in on?
The golf fundraiser is still underway, still looking for sponsors. The gala, we're fleshing out some of the details, pricing, still kind of in the foundational phase for that. On a side note, the board, in combination with PTO and some concerned parents, have started a food drive that you see going on. So that's us that is doing that. We're going to have the distribution on Sunday before our board retreat. So if anyone has it in their heart to help join, we're going to need some people to help staff, because we're going to be doing it at secondary campus and elementary campus. So if we can have people giving out food, then the pickups are going to be between 9 and noon. So we can roll it right in between to the board meeting. So reach out to me if you want to get involved with that on Sunday.
Do you need additional time? I have it on my draft agenda, so I wanted to ask for us to have more discussion on the golf fundraiser at all? Do we need additional time or focused or planning for that or?
I think at this stage,
Okay.
because we were just kind of getting the general approval last time, but
Yeah.
maybe in the near future.
Okay, all right, I'll take that off the agenda.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Are we ready to accept funds or people are donating? Or
We're working on getting the Zephy stuff,
The
so
Zephy,
not
okay.
quite yet. We're gonna meet this next week, so we're gonna solidify some details. I can send you an invite to the Zoom.
Okay, cool. Thanks. I just want to secure the people who said they want to pay. So
Yeah,
it's
you're
like,
right, like get them on the
get
fresh.
the money
Yeah.
while they're thinking.
Yeah, exactly, and like they're here, let's grab them, agree.
If you're listening, it's you.
That's everything from me.
Right. So executive committee, the only piece I have is I just wanted us to take a look at the draft agenda for Sunday's working session to see if there was any items that anybody wanted to have added to the agenda for us for discussion. Right now we have a focused time set aside for the governance document updates and the proposals that we needed to do for that.
Speaking of that,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I probably should revisit and send you guys what I've been sharing as onboarding to make sure
Oh,
that
yeah,
ultimately we can
that's
update
great.
current
Yeah.
documents. I know you're like probably the most knowledgeable, but you just read them. But yeah, so making sure like we have a
Yeah.
productive conversation of what we're talking about from a starting point.
Yeah, that sounds
So I need to
great.
do that.
Would you share that with Alicia? Because
Agenda
she's
for
also.
where is this?
I think it's just in a draft state in, did you email it out to everyone or just to?
Oh, the agenda?
Oh, no. I'm talking about.
She's talking about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Send it to Alicia as well when you send it to us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
that way.
Yeah. That'd
Because
be
I know
great.
she's been working through those. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I hope they're the same. Yeah.
We have some time just to look at committees and make sure that we are just ironing out our structures, confirming committees, chairs, just getting that nice and streamlined and just listed and transparent while we're all in one room. And then we will be reviewing our board goals as well and our purpose for the board and our focus moving forward. And then we also will having some long-term planning, financial stability discussion, and looking at kind of like that if then you discussed during that or that Chris mentioned during interview, right? Like if we can just set a little bit more kind of like goals for us as a long-term prospect. What are some things maybe long-term down the road that we want to look at to really increase financial stability? That is all I have currently for the agenda for Sunday. Is there anything else on there that you guys think that we should add? So I can update that before.
And you already wove in my comment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's essentially governance, finance, and goals, right?
Yeah.
Right. I feel like
I think that's.
That'll
That's a
take us
lot.
3 hours.
We
Yeah.
could be here all day, all
Yeah.
night with that.
Unless anyone has a burning desire to add something.
No.
I have just a random question. Are we still recruiting an executive director for next year or are you? Or do we get to
That's a
keep
great
others?
question.
But I mean, we like,
Put you on the spot.
sorry, and maybe we should add it to the agenda, but I know that we had last year when we had brought it up in the spring retreat, it was like already too late. So if it's something that's under consideration, I think maybe just we can start talking about it.
I'll add it to our long-term planning discussion. All right, we're good with that agenda for Sunday?
Mhm.
Okay.
And we're in person in the music room, right?
In person in here.
In here, okay. Not at Heather's house.
And
Yeah. She sent me a message and said, "Did you get a calendar invite for your house?"
There was a calendar invite that said board retreat at Heather. So I'm thinking maybe like some like
I said, "Well, no offense, we're not working. Like, well, you're welcome to come."
Some sort of
some like AI notes.
template because Kristen Chase was invited and she
Yeah.
tentatively accepted.
And yeah, like
Langston's coming too.
Okay.
It,
Sooner the merrier.
it
One more.
sent it to like a slew of people, and I got all of these responses back that were like, "This person's mailbox is full because they haven't been an IMO."
Yeah, and I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
even have,
And
the
I was
funny
at
thing is I
Heather's
don't
house.
have access to the calendar, so I don't even know how it got Heather's house, but you're welcome to come. Like, we can.
Well, I checked to make sure it didn't like have your address or anything, but I was like, "This is bizarre."
So that will be from 1 to 4. So if your thing is from 9 to 12, then you have an hour to go get lunch, eat, whatever you need to do, and then we'll meet from 1 to 4 in here. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So that is that.
Not as good as Heather's pool, though.
I
but-
know.
Yeah.
Well, it's heated.
Okay.
Come on. Yeah. I'll make Doug grill. Yeah. Bring your investors. We'll just close. Like, it's good.
Were there any other committee updates or any other committee business? All right. Stacy, you're up next.
Yeah,
Or-
I mean, I think we're sitting pretty at 8:10, so I think that looks good. We had a really, I think, in-depth discussion tonight. A lot of good things happening. So thank you for all the works and the committees, because that's really where I think that we are seeing some things move forward. So that's positive. That's really positive. Excited to have a little bit more bandwidth on the board. I think that will be helpful as well. So excited to have both Ryan and Chris join. I think that will just give us some new perspectives and power, manpower. So always a good thing. And yeah, so have a wonderful evening. Hopefully, would like to recognize all of those who have served and are serving our country. Currently, it is Veterans Day. So just thank you to all of those on our staff or in our communities, our families who have served our country and given up the ultimate sacrifice to help. So thank you to all of our veterans and their supporting families.
All right. We're going to adjourn our meeting then at 8:11. Thanks to everyone online. Thanks to everyone in the room, and we'll see y'all real soon.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.